Now, the game of football is going to be played tomorrow at the Sukro Sarakoglu Stadium in Fenerbahçe. This stadium capacitates 50,000 people, 530. And that's how everything is going to be panning out in there for you. And in the due course of the week, Fenerbahçe went ahead to obviously draw with Samsunspor. It's called Samsunspor 2-2, and obviously that's how they obviously went ahead end their game into the weekend. But Man United went ahead to beat Brentford by 2-1. And when you look at the team, Amrabat was there and very many others, and Edin Dzeko was leading the line, and Fred was also into the team. So we wait and see who is really going to be available and who is not really going to be available for this side. Now, for Fenerbahçe, they've gone ahead to play some games into the UEFA Europa League this season, and they've gone ahead to play 3 games, and those 3 games have gone ahead, obviously they've gone ahead to play 2 games, by the way, in the UEFA Europa League. And the last one they played FC 20 and they drew 1-1, and they were away at FC 20. And the first one they played, let me search for it here. Let me search for it here. What was the first game they played in the UEFA Europa League? All right. In the UEFA Europa League, they went ahead to play Union Gilosi, and they beat it by 2-1. You know, that is the team of Fenerbahçe, and that means they're really having more points than us. They're really having 2 points, I think, than the club of Manchester United, according to me. So that's how everything is really panning out. But that really shows you how big this game of football is really going to be. For Erik ten Hag, he needs to obviously get himself back to winning ways. You get? He needs to get himself back to winning ways in this tournament, because the first game we played against we played against FC 20, right, from the Eredivisie, and we drew 1-1. Then we went away at FC Porto and went ahead, obviously draw 3-3. And I've already told Man United that the problem in that game, Erik ten Hag approached it very badly. And for those that really think that I don't critique Erik ten Hag, I critique him. You get? And he really went ahead, obviously, not to do the best decision possible into those games. When you look at the table of the UEFA Europa League, Man United, Fenerbahçe is placed 13th with 4 points, and Man United is placed 21st with 2 points. And remember, there are 36 teams. So Man United would want to obviously get to 5 points, because very many teams are going to be playing on Thursday, and we'll be like, we should really get back to where we deserve to be as a club of Manchester United. So that's where everything really is, and we are really getting started to see to it that everything really moves on as planned for the club of Manchester United. So as it stands, we are here to bring you the latest news and information as far as these teams are really concerned. And at Manchester United, the team news is really as follows. The following players are out. Bruno Fernandes is suspended because he was red carded. Harry Maguire is injured, and we all know to it that he really has a muscle injury. Luke Shaw is having a calf injury. Mason Mount, you remember he got a concussion and he hasn't going to get back. Toby Collier is one of those who really has an injury that is really unspecified. Kobe Mainoo is another one that really had to obviously be out of this game of football. So those are the players that are really out of this game. For Tyrell Malacia, we are still waiting for the press conference today and see what Erik ten Hag is really going to be telling us about Tyrell Malacia in full. Whether he has been training with the first team and is ready to obviously come up and obviously putting in the required shift all together. But the rest of the players are readily available. You get? They're readily available, and some youngsters anticipated to obviously be included into this, because I went ahead to obviously look at an article that told us about how Man United is willing to include young stars, and we saw Sadio Kone trading with the club of Manchester United for the very first time. Harry Amaz was there, the Fletcher twins were there, and very many others, meaning that a lot of players are really going to be given a chance to obviously travel with the club of Manchester United into the mix, especially in the midfield, where we are really lacking depth. Now, when we go to the side of Fenerbahçe, this is coming in from Sports Small. They're telling us that Fenerbahçe left back Jayden ruptured his interior cruciate ligament against Samsunspor last weekend and will join Cengiz Under, who has a groin injury, Ismail Ugarte, who has a shoulder injury, Bright Osei Samuel has having a foot injury, and Iran Khan is having a muscle injury in the treatment room. While Filip Kostic, Gustic Adeyin, Emilaz, and Levent Mekan have all been left out of the club's UEFA Europa League squad. So that means Jayden, Under, Ismail Shushek, Bright Ozel, and Iftan Khan are really out. And they're telling us that in the absentia of Ostowole, Jose Mourinho will be forced to select either Mata Mulder, all ex-United player known as Fred, to play onto the left back, and Alexandria Diju potentially moving over to the right back. So he's really having some huge problems. But we all know that Saint Maximan is there, and Yusuf El Nyasri is also there, and Edin Dzeko is also there. So it's really going to be a highly contested game for Into the Mix. Then how comes it this game of football when he has just gone ahead to win against Brentford, and it acts like a confidence booster for Erik ten Hag to obviously come up and obviously think about what he's really going to be doing next into this beautiful game of football and fixture. So that's what you're really having coming in through from the side of Sports Small and the team news. Now, you've heard the team news, and let's get into the probable starting 11 for the club of Manchester United. And Erik ten Hag is accustomed to a system of 4-2-3-1. You all know that, and no one really hasn't gone ahead obviously doubt him, because looks like it's his favorite system that he really plays. In goal, I think it's going to be Andre Onana, not Atayil Bendair, because if it also be Bendair, obviously the guy called in the game that we played against FC20, which is a lesser strong side than Fenerbahçe, Bendair would have gone ahead to be in between the stitches. But Erik ten Hag went for Andre Onana into that game, and guess what? A lot really went ahead obviously happen into the mix. So Andre Onana is going to be in between the stitches, and I think one of the first changes that ten Hag is going to make, all maintain, is Diego Dallo to be played as a right back. And I've been one of those people that has come out obviously sound it on a regular that Dallo doesn't benefit us when he's being played on the left, because if you play Mazraoui on the right and Dallo on the left, Mazraoui hasn't shown us that he's good going forward, and we miss out on what Dallo offers to us going forward. And you evidently saw it when you're playing against Brentford, that we created very many chances, and the overload in onto the right half space of the final third was really busy because Dallo had to put himself there, and we had volumes of bodies that side, and he went ahead to obviously enjoy the deliveries coming in through from the right, which wasn't the case when Mazraoui is really playing there. And for Erik ten Hag to show us that he was really impressed with Dallo being played as a right back, he brought on Mazraoui, and Mazraoui went ahead to be played as a left back, you understand? So I believe in that case of playing Dallo as the right back, that will call in for Mazraoui to be played as a left back. You understand? So I believe Mazraoui is really going to be starting this game of football, and is going to be played as a left back. That's what is really going down into my brain, and I believe that's how you're really going to be standing. Remember, in the game of Brentford, it was Lisandro Martinez who was played as a left back, but I believe this time around it's not going to be the case. Then on the right-sided centre-back, I believe that Matthias de Ligt is really going to be maintaining his position, because he really played very well, and you need to give him a run-in of games so that he really perfects himself. And there is a start of Matthias de Ligt that Statman Dev went ahead obviously put out, and was like, let me try to obviously bring this to the public eye, because most of you are like, Rokani, you might be lying about this guy, but the guy really looked good, and I don't know what people are really gonna do who are like, the guy is not good, and I'm like, how did they come out and judge a player in his first season? That means you are really new to the football world, and you don't want, obviously, yet you need to know that what you're talking is total rubbish. And this is these are the stats of Matthias de Ligt in the Premier League. Now, this is Statman Dev. Matthias De Ligt is averaging 0.2 xg per 90 in the Premier League this season. That puts him in top 1% of the centre backs and is also more than the likes of Phil Foden 0.14, Jared Bowen 0.13, and Jadon Sancho 0.03. A massive influence in both boxes. So this guy, he's winning shots at goal than Phil Foden, Jadon Sancho, and Gerard Bowen, you know, in the played games that we've gone ahead to see. And it shows you how much he's really very integral into the style of play of Manchester United and why we need him on the pitch. So I want Matthias De Ligt played onto the right. That's where I want him to be played as a player for the club of Manchester United. And on the left-sided centre-back, I would go with Lisandro Martinez. I think people would be like, we are playing him very many games. No, Lisandro Martinez played, never played 90 minutes when you're playing against FC Porto. He never played any minutes when you're playing against Aston Villa. He never played in the first game that Argentina played, and in the last game they played in the international qualifiers, in the World Cup qualifiers in South America, he played only 17 minutes. That means that he rested for 90 minutes. All he last play, he had, when you're playing against Aston Villa, he never played, you get? Then he took one other week without playing and he played 17 minutes, meaning that he has taken close to 3 weeks of rest. And I think his body has gone ahead to fully recharge, and that's why you saw it that he was played throughout the game of Aston Villa, if you remember very well. Now, in this game, I would also fancy him to come in through and really start, because I know what he's really going to be giving the club of Manchester United. That is Lisandro Martinez for you. Then, in the central midfield, I think this is where change is really going to come in through, because you're not having Bruno Fernandes because of a red card, and you're not having Mason Mount, you are not having Kobe Mainoo, meaning that there is no way the manager isn't going to come up to obviously start Manuel Ugarte into that midfield. And you saw the drive he brought on the pitch going forward when he really came on when you're playing against Brentford. You really enjoyed that beautiful game of football altogether. That is Manuel Ugarte for you, and I just can't wait to see him play such games, because you'll need him for his recovery pace, tackles and interceptions in a game of this magnitude, because they're really having Amrabat and Fred in that midfield. They are really workaholics. You all know that. They're really workaholics, meaning that you cannot trust that midfield with only Eriksen and Casemiro, meaning that you need to be having a workaholic player whose intensity is really high, who is a proven tackler, you know, and a checkmate orchestrator into that midfield. That is Manuel Ugarte. And who is he going to play against? I think he's going to play against Casemiro. And we all remember that when they play together in the game of Barnsley, though Barnsley is really below the belt, obviously judge their potential, all the delivery of these players, they really looked good. And it's not going to be the very first time they're really playing together. And I just can't wait to see how they're really going to be featuring, because we need to be having that double pivot. And Casemiro is good going forward, and I think it will be all about their communication. Like, Casemiro comes in, tells Ugarte, I'm going, stay. And when Ugarte is going, he's like sending a message to Casemiro, please stay into that. So I just can't wait to see how the double pivot is going to play. And in that stadium of 50,000 people, you need to obviously have people to shield your central defense. However good it is, but we need it to be shielded to the fullest. Now, in the central attacking midfield, in the absentia of Bruno Fernandes, I fancy to see Eriksen being played into the number 10 position, like Erik ten Hag did when you're playing against Barnsley. Obviously, when you're playing against Barnsley, he was played as a central attack midfielder, and the midfield three had Casemiro, Ugarte, and Eriksen. That's how they went ahead, obviously, stand. So that's how everything really went out to look like, and I believe it's really gonna be looking the same tomorrow as we're playing against Fenerbahçe. Eriksen really gives you a lot of composure, and if Eriksen is playing in that number 10, all the people in front of him are really going to enjoy, because he doesn't have selective ball distribution. You know, he'll distribute it to the right attacking midfielder or the left attacking midfielder, and also release the number 9 for the club of Manchester United. Now, As Erik ten Hag tries to find rhythm for his players at the club of Manchester United, I think there is a player that he has benched for 2 consecutive games without playing any minute, and that is Amadi Diallo. And I think he deserves a chance to obviously come in through and start on the right attacking side of the midfield. And by the way, I think this is the 3rd game that I've gone ahead obviously put in look out for Amad Diallo to start, and he has not gone ahead to start. So I just can't wait to see whether he's going to start or not, because Ten Hag is a stubborn man. He might stick with his Rashford and Garnacho formula that went ahead obviously get him results at Old Trafford, and he might be like, I want this to obviously continue, and see whether they perfect into the mix. Then on the left, I think it's going to be Alejandro Garnacho, because he looked great. 8 shots at goal, and 5 of those were on target, and he ended up getting 1 goal. And it was really intentional that they are going to look for him, like overload the right side to see to it that all players lose concentration onto Alejandro Garnacho, such that when the switch play comes into play, he obviously has yards of space to operate, because you know to it that he operates a lot into those spaces. And I think that's the trap of Manchester United. You saw it at the beginning of the game, you know, when Rashford was really switching play a lot to Garnacho, and that's how Erik ten Hag was really playing his beautiful game of football. And now leading the lines, is it going to be Zexi or Rasmus Højlund? I believe it's going to be Rasmus Højlund. He has to give him a run-in of games to obviously get the confidence. And as I told you in the game of Brentford before we even played it, in the match preview, that I smell a Rasmus Højlund goal. You get? And even tomorrow, I smell a Rasmus Højlund goal. That is it. I just smell it. I feel it. So that is my probable starting 11 for the club of Manchester United, that I believe can go to the side of Fenerbahçe and obviously find ourselves really winning that beautiful game of football. Now, let's go to the head-to-head stats. 1, Fenerbahçe have alternated between a loss and a win across their 6 previous meetings with Manchester United, most recently winning 2-1 at home in 2016-2017 UEFA Europa League group stage. So the last time we played there, they went ahead to beat us. Second, Manchester United have lost both of their last 2 trips to face Fenerbahçe in all competitions, losing 3-0 in December 2004 and 2-1 in November 2016. So we are not good travelers to Fenerbahçe, meaning that Ten Hag has to really break that curse. Then thirdly, Fenerbahçe are unbeaten in their last 7 home games in the UEFA Europa League. They're having 4 wins, 3 draws, winning 4 of their last 5. So they're really good at home, and it's not going to be an easy game. Man United have won just 1 of their last 10 matches in major European competitions. 4 draws, 5 losses. They are without a win in 5. You know, 3 draws, 2 losses, last having a long such run in 1980 to 1986. And you know what happened in the Champions League last season? You know, I think the only team we beat was Copenhagen at home 1-0. Galatasaray beat us by 3 goals to... Was it? We drew 3-3 with them. You know, I think they beat us 3-2. You know, at home we only won 1 game. Bayern came in through and beat us, and it wasn't really some good game of Manchester United. Then lastly, Fenerbahçe boss Jose Mourinho has won just 2 of his last 17 games against sides he previously managed. 4 draws and 11 losses, though one of those was a 6-1 win against Manchester United with Spurs in October 2020. I still remember that game like yesterday, where we really came up and obviously gifted very many goals to the side of Tottenham Hotspur, courtesy of the red card that was given to Antoine Martial in there. So guys, thank you very much for watching through. Rock and David is my name. My prediction for this game is a 2-1. That is it. 2-1 win for the club of Manchester United. Benchmarking on the fact that if we scored 3 goals away at FC Porto, and FC Porto is a more organized side, I think we can score goals, you know, 2+. But the problem is, how are we going to defend tomorrow? That is the most important bit of it all. How are we going to defend? If we defend better, I tell you, Man United will obviously annihilate that side of FC Fenerbahçe, and we will come back to Manchester with a win. But the problem is really going to be, if Man United if Man United don't really close down very well, then we might find ourselves not getting back to where we deserve to be. So thank you very much for watching through. Rock and David is my name. That has been what I really thought about this beautiful game of football. So continue to subscribe to this channel because we want to hit 20,000 subscribers, and let's see how everything is really going to be panning out. I'm out. Bye bye.